I'd like to say that my internet experience has been pretty unique thus far, so the amount and variety of content I am and have been interested in is sheer to say the least. My internet exposure began somewhere around 2011, peaking when I started middle school in 2015. Not to mention all the cartoons and stuff I'd seen even before then. Now I'm an adult and most of my personality stems from 2014 Minecraft YouTube and Five Nights at Freddy's. All of that being said, my least favorite and most regrettable period in my life starts with one piece of media in good old 2016. When I started middle school, I quickly flocked to anime because so many of my new friends were already into it. I would like to mention that this was a time where watching it made you weird. So I was fitting in with my friends at the cost of fitting in with literally anybody else. There were some popular options among my friends, but the one we liked the most was Hetalia.
Smile for the camera!
Nine. Why are superpowers always super jerks?
Yeah! Time for dessert!
Also known as Hetalia Axis Powers, this popular anime is known best as a portrayal of world events and politics, summed up by way of interaction between personified countries. The main recurring cast includes the Axis powers of World War II, Germany, Italy, and Japan, as well as the Allies England, the USA, Russia, France, and China. Other side characters depicted include the Nordic countries Denmark, Norway, Sweden, Finland, and Iceland, the Baltic countries Lithuania, Estonia, and Latvia, Central European countries Austria, Hungary, Switzerland, Liechtenstein, and Poland, Eastern European countries Ukraine and Belarus, Western European countries Netherlands, Belgium, and Monaco, Asian countries and regions Taiwan, Hong Kong, Oceanic countries Australia and New Zealand, Micronations Sealand, Soborgo, Y, Molossia, Kugelmugel, and Ladonia, North American countries Canada and Cuba, Mediterranean countries Greece, Turkey, and Cyprus, Southern European countries Spain and South Italy, Balkan countries Bulgaria and Romania, the African country Seychelles, and now dissolved countries Hutt River, Prussia, and the Holy Roman Empire. This isn't even all of them. I limit it to who's had an appearance in the anime. So, with something that big, where do you even start? Created by Hidekazu Himaruya, Hetalia began as a Japanese webcomic that was later referenced to publish an official manga that would later spawn an animated series. Hetalia is a combination of the words Hetare and Italia, Hetare meaning to be useless or pathetic in an endearing sense in Japanese, and Italia referring to the country of Italy, who serves as the lovable yet bumbling main protagonist of the series.
I'm like a supercar genius! To help me get away from the enemy no matter where they are, I had Mr. Giuliani do some sweet modifications to help me escape! Oh no!
You fool! I told you what would happen if you touched mine Kugelwagen!
Oopsie daisy.
I had trouble finding a solid date for when the webcomic started, but it is said that Himaruya started creating it in college, subsequently uploading it to his website after it launched in 2003. After that, 6 installments of the official manga were published between 2008 and 2012, with a translated North American release in 2013. Before the anime had any lines recorded, a drama CD adaptation was recorded with a different voice cast. Several of these CDs were released between 2008 and 2011. In 2009, the first volume of the anime adaptation was made available only on mobile and streaming services after it failed to air on TV for reasons we'll come back to later. The season consisted of 26 5-minute-long episodes, and a second season aired in 2009 with an additional 26 episodes. It's usually referred to as Hetalia Axis Powers or Axis Powers Hetalia. The former was only the subtitle for the first 2 seasons. Season 3 aired in 2010 under the name Hetalia World Series for 24 episodes, with an additional 4th season under that name worth 24 more episodes, plus 3 extra episodes and a strange addendum to episode 53. Almost none of these episodes have actual titles, rather just numbers. Season 5 aired under a new subtitle, Hetalia Beautiful World, in 2013. This season has 20 episodes, and it's the season I'm most familiar with, as well as the 6th season, Hetalia The World Twinkle, which aired in 2015 and had 15 episodes. These episodes are much easier to find clips of and set apart from others because they're given real titles that actually correspond to the plot. Not only do the many subtitles and seasons lead to some confusion, but between World Series and Beautiful World, there's a studio and art style change that softens the sharp edges and bold shapes of the earlier seasons. With so many episodes made available on Funimation's streaming service, a fandom quickly rose up in America. If you're actually interested in watching this garbage fire after this, Funimation has all of the seasons as well as the pre-art style change movie Paint It White.
Wow! What the crapola happened here?
Dudes, this is an emergency! Tony, my righteous alien dude friend, told me they're Pictonians from the planet Picto. For real, dude, Picto's in like way far outer space. Your brain's in way far outer space! Dude, your ideas will all suck, so listen! listen to me!
I will say that this movie comes across exactly how you'd expect a show that's usually just 5 minutes at a time expanded to an hour and a half to be. All of Homestuck and Undertale, Hetalia is notorious for its odd fanbase. Comprised mainly of teenage girls, the fandom is known for being a haven for self-proclaimed fujoshis. The word fujoshi is a Japanese term used to refer to cishet girls, usually minors, who fetishize MLM relationships and refer to them in a playful yet negative lens as something wrong and sinful to look at or read about, in the sense they were doing something taboo and being fully aware and proud of it, while at the same time expressing distaste in WLW relationships, admonishing them for being genuinely disgusting and wrong. This is a harmful view in the real world, negatively impacting real MLM and WLW individuals and their communities. Going forward, it's important to keep in mind that fiction does affect reality, and having these kinds of interactions with and opinions of fictional people do create real-world problems, especially when people like this will begin to apply their lens to actual people, because people do that. One of the staples of the Hetalia fandom was the rampant shipping. With so many different characters in this series, it was easy for fans to root themselves in a particular ship. This caused extreme fighting and arguments between individuals and groups who disagreed for the right pairing for a character. So many of these conditions can still be felt today through old Tumblr text posts and the later reinvention/reincarnation of aptly named ship wars with Clance and Voltron, but that's another complicated story. Popular options for shipping in Hetalia were Germany and Italy, America and Japan, France and England, and China and Russia, all ships pairing 2 male characters together. All of that is well and fine, but the problem was again the fujoshi view of things. When you layer in the real relationships that the actual countries have in the real world, it gets even more complicated. For example, the fandom sees America and Canada as England's children or relatives in reference to both countries having broken off from the United Kingdom in real life. I think this might have even been made canon in an episode, or at least suggested to be canon. That didn't stop some fans from shipping the 3 together in every possible combination, despite America's relationship with Canada coming across as brotherly, and the 2 seeing England as some bothersome elderly parent. This brings up another problem within the fandom, pro-shipping. Pro-shipping refers to the action of fans who will put their ideal ship above all else, including laws and social rules. Pro-shippers fail to draw the line at pedophilic, incestuous, and abusive ships. I could go on another whole tangent about this, but it's only important to bring up that 1, people like this should be avoided at all costs because again, fiction affects reality, and 2, I believe that this kind of outward pride in being a pro-shipper stems from fujoshi culture and the way that both parties have allowed themselves to feel safe to air these opinions under the guise that they're harmless, when they really aren't. Other popular ships that fall into the pro-ship category include Italy and Romano, or North and South Italy, who are canonically brothers, as well as Iceland and Norway, who aren't only brothers but have a 3 or 4 year age gap between them, Norway being 20 and Iceland being 16 or 17 years old. Another variety of Hetalia ships were self-cest ships, where one would ship an existing character with a variant of themselves. Sound familiar? In these situations, you basically had 2 options for variants, 2Ps and Neos. 2Ps are the inverse of character in most senses besides their gender. Where one character might be reserved and soft-spoken, their 2P self will be harsh and sadistic, like 2P Japan for example. Their eyes and way of dressing might have more devilish coloring to visually set the 2 apart. While some 2P countries were designed by Himaruya himself, fans have filled in the gaps for characters who didn't get the 2P treatment. Neotalia characters, shortened to Neos, were just the same characters with the opposite gender from the original country. They would have completely different design elements from their counterparts, all of which Himaruya was responsible for. Unlike the 2P designs, the Neotalia designs can actually be seen in the anime series, episode 25 of The Beautiful World. Another ramification of the fandom's sheer size and the content of its members' character was the stereotyping and oversimplification of cultural and political themes. This is an issue that Hetalia itself combats with comedy and clever character interactions standing in for real events. There is a criticism of the show that it simplifies real events that had real-life consequences, but at the same time, it avoided talking about things like the Holocaust while still discussing World War II and deriving its main cast from the conflict. However, nothing could stop fans from manufacturing their own stories about the characters inspired by these events. I won't get too into it here, but fics were a genuine reality across multiple fanfiction sites. The fandom also had trouble separating fiction from reality when referring to the culture of the characters' countries. Most of the characters were built around stereotypes about each country.
America, you're seriously twisted. Everything is not about domination. Try relaxing like me every once in a while. Dude, I'm not sure I could ever love Moose and drag my as much as you do, okay?
Korea protested the TV airing of the anime due to this because of the Hetalia depiction of the Korea character. Even though he has no speaking role in the anime and still hasn't had one to this day as far as I know, it could be possibly due to this protest. I have no idea. For example, France is overly flamboyant and pervy at times, a clear stereotype about the art and media in France. This, combined with the lack of people of color in the anime adaptation, gave too much leeway for real racist and skewed views of real countries to develop. I mean, it's kind of messed up for a girl to see one of her favorite countries attack another in the media and have their first thought be about anime boys. There are genuine consequences to the actions of countries that impact real innocent citizens. This seemed to be something that fans often forgot when making fan content. This only strengthened the negative image of the show's fans. Even though the fandom brought down the enjoyment of the show by quite a lot, the series on its own actually isn't so bad. While I would say the dub ramps up the offensive jokes and accents, at face value, the sub has a lot more to love.
Sergeant Huntsman is here as my security guard. And these are my special medicinal mushrooms that I've been growing in my cabinet on purpose.
これはKPの足高軍曹士あるよ。そしてこれは何にでも効く幻のキノコ。まあ任せとけある。不安です。
If you take the characters as simply that, it's a really fun and emotional at times comedic show whose immortal characters allow for both modern and pre-modern settings. I think that's one of the most interesting things about it. That and the soundtrack. The last notable thing about Hetalia, in my opinion, is the soundtrack. The openings and endings to each season are undeniable bangers, and I had the ending theme from Axis Power stuck in my head the whole time I was writing the script. Not only are there these songs to jam out to, but a multitude of the characters actually have their own songs. Most of them are officially produced, but some are fan creations made with sound-alike Vocaloid systems. If you're a 2016 era anime fan, or you're just bored, you should give Hong Kong's character song a listen. It hasn't aged well by any means. They're going on nearly a decade old, so you're sure to at least get a kick out of that. So, where does the series and its fandom stand now? In 2021, Hetalia fans' 6-year-long wait for more content finally came to an end. On April 1st, like some kind of cruel joke, Hetalia World Stars became available to stream on Funimation, subsequently causing many fans who had long forgotten about it to come out of the woodwork once again. It even piqued my interest. As someone who is around with the toxic, ship-warring, immature fandom, I braced myself for an uproar, but it never came. I realized that a lot of those girls have grown up. Some, not all, realized the harm of their ways and came back to Hetalia to almost apologize. People in the new fandom space reminded each other that real world and current events shouldn't tie into the enjoyment of the content. It doesn't mean all the members have hung up their jackets on this yet, however, but for me, separating myself from fandoms has healed me in a sense. I hate to end things on such a cheesy note, but for the first time since 2016, I looked at my favorite Hetalia characters and instead of resenting them as an image of my imperfect past, I found my love for them again and welcomed them back into my life as old friends. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to give this a look. I will say that by no means am I a professional. This video probably doesn't sound or look very good, but I'm just doing it for my own enjoyment. I want to talk about things that I haven't personally seen anybody else talk about. So if you enjoy like weird internet stuff, like toys and stuff, please stay tuned. I will have more videos coming out at some point. If I find enough excitement in doing this, I'm going to keep doing it. But please take that with a grain of salt because this was a lot of work. Thank you.